There's a moment that exists between what was and what will be, a threshold where time itself seems to pause, where the ordinary world holds its breath, and something profound stirs beneath the surface of your reality. You're standing in that moment right now, whether you realize it or not. Look around you. Notice the subtle shifts happening in your environment. The way conversations have started carrying different weight. How certain people seem to be appearing in your life with uncanny timing. The way solutions to problems you've been wrestling with suddenly present themselves from unexpected directions. These aren't random occurrences. They're the opening notes of a symphony that's been composing itself around you for longer than you know. What I'm about to reveal isn't some abstract theory or wishful thinking. This is the documented pattern that emerges right before major life alignments occur, the specific sequence of events that unfolds when the universe begins orchestrating circumstances to deliver something significant into your reality. And the reason you're hearing this now, at this precise moment, is because you're already deep inside this process. Most people live their entire lives without ever recognizing these patterns. They experience the shifts, feel the changes, sense something building, but they dismiss it all as coincidence or imagination. They're so focused on what they can see and touch and control that they completely miss the invisible architecture being constructed around their future. But you're different. Something inside you has been stirring, hasn't it? A knowing that goes beyond logic. A sense that the pieces of your life are being rearranged by forces you can't quite name. Here's what happens in the weeks and months before everything clicks into place. First, your internal compass starts recalibrating. Things that used to feel important suddenly lose their grip on you. Priorities that seem set in stone begin shifting without your conscious decision. You might find yourself questioning choices you've never questioned before, feeling restless in situations that used to feel comfortable, or experiencing a strange detachment from outcomes that would have consumed you just months earlier. This isn't confusion. This is clarity beginning to emerge. Your deeper wisdom is preparing you for what's coming by releasing you from what no longer serves your highest path. The universe doesn't just drop major alignments into unprepared lives. It first creates space for them by naturally dissolving whatever would conflict with your emerging reality. During this phase, you might notice that certain relationships begin to feel different. Not necessarily worse, but different. Some people will start to feel like they're speaking a language you're growing out of. Others will appear in your life seemingly out of nowhere, carrying exactly the energy or information or opportunity you need. This isn't you becoming antisocial or them changing. This is the magnetic field around your life, reorganizing itself to match the frequency of where you're headed. The second thing that happens is what I call the acceleration effect. Time starts behaving strangely. Some days feel like they contain weeks' worth of experiences. Other weeks pass in what feels like hours. But it's not just your perception of time that shifts. It's the speed at which meaningful events begin occurring in your life. Opportunities start presenting themselves faster than you can process them. Insights arrive in clusters. Synchronicities multiply exponentially. This acceleration isn't random chaos. It's preparation. The universe is compressing your learning curve, giving you rapid-fire exposure to the experiences, people, and knowledge you'll need to navigate what's coming. Most people get overwhelmed during this phase because they try to control or understand every single event as it happens. But the acceleration isn't meant to be micromanaged. It's meant to be surfed. You'll know you're in this phase when you start having experiences that feel almost prophetic. Conversations with strangers that seem specifically designed for your situation. Books or videos that appear in your life containing exactly the message you needed to hear. Dreams that feel more real than your waking hours. Moments of knowing that transcend anything you could have learned through conventional means. These aren't coincidences, and they're not delusions. These are what I call preview transmissions. The universe's way of giving you glimpses of the reality that's forming around you. Think of them as movie trailers for your own life, showing you fragments of the story that's about to unfold. But here's what's crucial to understand about these preview transmissions. They're not showing you what might happen. They're showing you what's already in motion on levels you can't yet perceive. The third phase is where things get really interesting, and it's where most people either break through or break down. This is when your old identity begins its final dissolution, not in a dramatic, catastrophic way, but in a systematic release of every belief, habit, and pattern that's incompatible with who you're becoming. You might find yourself saying things you've never said before, making decisions that surprise even you, or feeling drawn toward paths that would have seemed impossible just months earlier. This identity shift isn't something you do. It's something that happens through you, like a river changing course, not because it decides to, but because the landscape around it has shifted enough to create a new path of least resistance. Your emerging self isn't a project you're working on. It's a reality that's working through you, dissolving whatever doesn't align with its expression. During this phase, you might experience what feels like a series of tests or challenges, but these aren't obstacles trying to stop you. These are initiations designed to confirm that you're ready for what's about to arrive. Each challenge is perfectly calibrated to require you to embody the exact qualities you'll need in your new reality. Courage, where you used to hesitate. Trust, where you used to control. Authenticity, where you used to perform. The testing phase serves another crucial purpose. It's building your capacity to receive and sustain the magnitude of what's coming, because here's what nobody tells you about major life alignments. They don't just change your circumstances, they change your entire relationship with reality itself. You start operating from a completely different frequency. What used to require effort becomes effortless. What used to feel impossible starts feeling inevitable. Decisions that would have paralyzed you for weeks now happen in moments, with a clarity that surprises everyone around you. This isn't confidence you've built. This is knowing that's emerged from someplace deeper than your mind can reach. The fourth phase is what separates those who complete their alignment from those who get stuck in perpetual preparation. This is when the external world begins reflecting your internal transformation in ways that can no longer be ignored. Opportunities don't just appear, they pursue you. People don't just notice your changes, they seek you out specifically because of them. Resources don't just become available, they seem to organize themselves around your needs before you even articulate them. But here's where it gets tricky. This is also when the old world makes its final attempt to reclaim you. Everything you're leaving behind will suddenly seem more appealing than it ever has before. Old opportunities will resurface with better terms. People from your past will reappear with compelling reasons for you to return to familiar patterns. The life you were living will present itself as safer, more practical, more realistic than the unknown territory you're entering. This isn't the universe testing your resolve. This is the natural tension that exists at every threshold. Like a river that moves faster just before it reaches the ocean, your old reality will intensify its pull just before you cross into something entirely new. Most people interpret this intensification as a sign they're making a mistake. They think the universe is trying to warn them away from their path. But it's actually the opposite. The stronger the pull backward, the closer you are to breaking through forward. During this phase, time becomes even more fluid. You'll have days that feel like they contain entire lifetimes of experience, conversations that seem to last for hours, but when you check the clock, only minutes have passed. Moments of silence that feel so full of presence, they seem to expand beyond the boundaries of normal time. You're not losing your grip on reality. You're discovering that reality is far more malleable than you were taught to believe. This is when you start receiving what I call confirmation downloads, information that comes to you, not through learning, but through remembering, solutions that arrive not through analysis, but through recognition, insights that feel less like discoveries and more like homecomings. You'll know something with absolute certainty without being able to explain how you know it. You'll see patterns that were always there, but somehow invisible until now. You'll understand connections that exist beyond the reach of linear thinking. The fifth and final phase is the alignment itself, but it's not what most people imagine. It's not a single moment of dramatic transformation. It's more like stepping through a doorway that you suddenly realize was always open. One day, you wake up and the person looking back at you from the mirror is someone you recognize, but who feels entirely new. The life you're living is the life you always sensed was possible, but could never quite access. What's remarkable about this phase is how natural it feels. All the struggle, all the uncertainty, all the preparation suddenly makes perfect sense. Not because you can explain it logically, but because you can feel it in your bones. The path that seems so unclear becomes obvious in retrospect. The timing that felt so frustrating reveals itself as absolutely perfect. The challenges that seemed like obstacles show themselves as exactly the preparation you needed. But here's what nobody tells you about reaching alignment. It's not an end point, it's a beginning. Because once you've experienced this level of transformation, once you've seen how perfectly orchestrated the process really is, you start to understand that alignment isn't something that happens to you once. It's a way of being that you can access again and again, each time at deeper levels, each time revealing new dimensions of what's possible. The signals you're receiving right now, the shifts you're experiencing, the sense that something significant is building, these aren't leading you to a single moment of arrival. They're introducing you to a new way of moving through reality, a way of being so attuned to the currents of possibility that you start collaborating with life instead of fighting against it. You're not just approaching an alignment, you're approaching a remembering, a return to a way of being that's always been available, but somehow got obscured by all the noise of trying to force outcomes instead of allowing them. What's coming isn't just a better version of the life you know. It's an entirely different relationship with existence itself. And the most beautiful part? This is just the beginning. Once you step through this threshold, once you experience what it's like to live in alignment with these deeper currents, you'll discover that what you thought was your destination was actually just your starting point. The universe has been preparing you not just for what's immediately ahead, but for a way of being that keeps expanding, keeps revealing new possibilities, keeps opening doors you didn't even know existed. So, if you're feeling that unmistakable stirring in your chest right now, if something deep inside you is recognizing the truth in these words, then understand what this moment represents. You're not just learning about alignment, you're living it. The very fact that you've stayed with me through this entire journey, that these patterns feel familiar rather than foreign, that part of you is nodding along with quiet recognition. This is confirmation that you're already well into your own alignment process. The recalibration of your internal compass, the acceleration of meaningful events, the preview transmissions, the identity dissolution, the external reflections, all of it has been happening in your life, whether you recognized it or not. And now, armed with this awareness, you can stop fighting the current and start flowing with it. Remember, alignment isn't a destination you arrive at once and then stay forever. It's a dance you learn, a frequency you attune to, a way of being that keeps deepening and expanding throughout your life. What's unfolding for you right now is just the first movement in a much grander symphony. The threshold you're standing on isn't just leading to a better version of your current life, it's leading to an entirely new way of existing. One where you don't just experience synchronicity, you become it. Where you don't just witness the magic of perfect timing, you embody it. The signals are everywhere. The alignment is inevitable, and your new beginning starts now.